Up next, we have our last keynote presentation by Mr. Shujun Lee, Director, Institute of Cybersecurity for Society, also known as ICSS. He is joining us from University of Kent, UK, and his speech topic is Privacy in the Cyber Physical World. Over to you, Shujun, for your keynote speech. You have the next 15 minutes.
Okay, so thank you very much for the introduction, and let me share my screen. Okay, so hello everyone. So I'm not a company representative, so I will not actually give you some, ready to use the product, but hopefully I will give you some thought about some challenges and directions for developing solutions of physical world. So just before I start, very quick brief introduction to myself. So I'm a professor of cybersecurity at the University of Kent in the UK, and so I'm also leading the Institute of Cybersecurity for Society, ICSS, which is represents the University of Kent here in the UK as a so-called academic center of excellence in cybersecurity research. Some of you might have heard of this, which is jointly recognized by the National Cybersecurity Center in the UK and Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. Okay, so, and as you already see in the title, and my talk will be largely two parts. The first part, it's about challenges, and I want to show you a number of reasons why there are challenges about our privacy in the cyber physical world. And one of the aspects I want to talk about is actually whose personal data. And when we talk about privacy, we often talk about why we need to protect our personal data, and we need to have a say, and we need to decide what to do, and we can request it and that. But have you thought about actually your data are not necessarily just yours? Think about many personal data, name and biometrics and family information, and all of those are actually not about you, but about your family, which can be a quite large extended family. So when you actually share information, you are likely sharing information on behalf of others, no matter if you know them, no matter if you actually get permission from them, or even if you don't know them. So this is just a story about separated siblings. Actually, they got reunited through a DNA test. It means that if you actually share information and online, and that can even be possible that you actually affect somebody who you didn't actually know. And of course, it's not just about the families, it's also about other people beyond your family. So like your geolocations, like about the religions, and some even political opinions and so on. It can be about your neighbors, can be about local communities, right? Because people in your local community might have the same religious, belief, and they may have similar political positions, because it's how a lot of people are actually living together because they move to the community actually with the similar beliefs in different things. And another thing, another aspect which is important and also of a challenge as well is about where is your data, or where's my data, and is that actually on your device or devices, or actually on the internet, or on many different places on the internet, and where exactly are they actually? And you may not actually have a immediate answer, because nowadays our data is so spread across the board. And this picture actually shows you all the data breaches, and we are observing and almost every day. And you might already be noticed by the websites about actually your data got compromised here and there. So your data is actually everywhere, and often you don't even know where they are. And in this context, of course, I would also like to mention about IoTs and the cloud, which is the theme of the summit. And when we talk about actually IoT, for instance, and I believe you must agree with me that IoT is actually everywhere. Basically, it's just so many devices which are considered as IoTs, including mobile phones, wearables, and maybe even just normal computers if they are small. And of course, often the data are stored in the cloud. And where is the cloud actually? How many clouds are there? And there are actually a lot of interesting questions, and which can actually affect how actually we can achieve and protect our privacy. And in 2013, so Cisco actually proposed the concept called IoE, so Internet of Everything, which somehow reflected about the concept of both IoT everywhere, but it also things, but also about data, processes, and people. Right? If you think about that, and hopefully we see that the data and people are about privacy, and our personal data can go to things, can go to processes, can go to other data, can go to other people. And so it's a very complicated actually process involving both cyber and physical stuff. And who are the data consumers and why? And if you can think about it, there are other people who get our data for different reasons, either because we share or because they actually hold the information anyway. And we share with the companies and for different kind of reasons, and they often have a privacy policy, and we may not read. And you also have a lot of devices which you share data without necessarily know what they are doing, but they are going out anyway. And then there's also, of course, law enforcement, government bodies, which actually often see your data, not necessarily you are aware of, because there are laws could make some collection of personal data exempted from explicit consent. And so these are a number of aspects which actually make privacy in cyber physical world actually quite challenging. And I want to also give you some more concrete examples to actually illustrate and how actually important and complicated this can be. So the first one is privacy at a smart home. So many of you might have a smart home or somehow smart. And have you thought about if your smart home actually is secure enough against attackers? And attackers can be strangers, remote hackers, can be neighbors, can be friends who are not living in the household, can be insiders, meaning that the family members can actually probe each other, and you have some private stuff you want to hide from your even family members. And this is a very complicated landscape because there are so many things and so many people are involved. And what about actually, I call it extended home. So where exactly your home? So if you look at this picture I showed before, and you will see that there are a number of things, although most of the things are things at your home and they will not move. But if you see, there are a number of things which actually will really be often moving with you, or you are moving in it, like the cars. Or the phones and cameras, or you are moving traveling and in airplane, in train and so on. You might actually have somehow extended home concept, where actually your home is not the physical home anymore, but extended to the outer physical world with your home devices with you. And some people actually might even have car as the home because they don't even have a home. And another example is COVID privacy. So, and we all actually know how this digital contact tracing works. And if you think about that, that is a very beautiful example about actually how privacy is a real problem, and when the cyber and the physical come together. And this is why there are solutions about how to actually do it more properly. But there are also thoughts from some people about what we are doing now is probably still not sufficient. And privacy at work. And one of the reasons why I want to mention this is about COVID as well, because of the COVID, we all work from home. But even if after COVID, even before COVID, and we often also work from home and for different reasons. And you could also bring your own device to work. And then so there's a mixture of home and work, and then there's a mixture of a lot of physical things which intermingle with cyber elements, like your background in the Zoom meeting, which actually shows your private information of you and your family members, and how that can be a problem. And another example is about CCTV and smart cities. And you must be very familiar with all those different kinds of smart or not, and CCTVs around the city in many different places on different vehicles, and pretty much we are constantly under surveillance. And what is the privacy implications of that? And of course, we also benefit from the enhanced safety and other convenience which brought by those systems. And in the public space, and often people take pictures like this one. So somebody was stuck in the traffic and decided to take a picture and of the car in front of him and also the people around it. And this picture actually is a public domain picture, and I found. And this actually originally has the vehicle number plates, and the people's faces are clearly visible, including minors. And should we actually think about the bystanders and people like that? Actually, they do have a privacy, and we all need to do something with it, not just faces. And even if you just actually walk around in the physical space, and people can use their faces actually to get information about you. And this is a very famous example in 2016. And the Russian journalist actually just took pictures in the subway and then connected with data on dating on social media, and actually can recover a lot of information of strangers. And that is a problem. And another one, so this is Chinese, but you don't need to read it. So I can tell you, this is about a Chinese app which allows actually passengers on the same flight and actually to check flight history of other passengers on the same flight. And is this really intended? And there's actually a lot of these kind of travel apps we are using all the time. And did you actually disclose some information and to more people you don't really mean disclosing to, and how that can be managed? So all of these examples hopefully and gave you some ideas of actually there are a lot of challenges when we actually want to handle privacy in the physical cyber world because of the complicated scenarios, because of the complicated interactions between people and devices and the cyber and physical worlds, and because often we don't even know where we are and what we are doing and what data and we are actually considering, and so on and so forth. So it's indeed a very challenging landscape. Now let's look at the second part about the solutions. So regarding solutions, and the first one, of course, I would like to advocate is the privacy by design and the PBD, which is a very well established principle, and I will not read out all the 7 foundational principles of the privacy by design, and which I think all developers and designers and even policymakers and should really think about the privacy by design. And hopefully every single system we are developing in the cyberspace and in the cyber physical space will follow these principles so that we have a better chance to protect privacy of everyone. And technical solutions, and as we all know, and there are things called privacy enhancing technologies, PETs. And there's a lot of PETs actually around, and which can actually protect our privacy, and as those listed on the screen. But if you really think about how many actually are particularly designed for privacy in cyber physical world, not really many. And actually I can't even name very famous ones. So that means there's actually space and also a market opportunities, of course. Let's actually do more. And when talk about privacy, we can't forget legal solutions. And for instance, GDPR in the EU and in the UK and many other countries also have similar data protection laws. And however, we have a problem about the inconsistencies, and we also have a problem of not every country actually has a data protection law. So for instance, if I didn't get the wrong intelligence, I believe Saudi Arabia actually doesn't currently have a data protection law. Again, there's a lot we can do in this space. And social-technical solutions. And I would like to mention education and awareness. And this is actually very important for cybersecurity. And as you know, there is a lot of campaigns around. But if you look at what is happening, you will see that there's a lot more about cybersecurity and than privacy. And there's a lot more about cyber than cyber physical. And there's a lot more about end users and then for developers and designers. So again, so there's a lot of things we could do more to actually to fill the gaps. And finally, and I want to mention a quick solution we are currently developing called the Private mobile app. So which is an app hopefully will facilitate users to understand better where my data is, with whom I share my data, and what I can do with it. And this actually does cover cyber physical because it captures the sensors and capture actually the data shared via the internet. This is my last slide, so I will stop here. And if you actually want to discuss more, if you have any questions, and please either contact me and by searching my name and on LinkedIn or Skype or Twitter, or you can go to my personal website. Or if you actually are able to visit us physically, please. You are welcome to visit ICSS in Kent. So we are not very far from London. Thanks.
All right, sorry about that. So thank you very much, Shujun, for giving us this wonderful keynote presentation. Truly appreciate your time and your effort towards our summit. Thank you once again.
Welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.